and
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Through no fault of mine or Tierney's, she's going to film our meeting, but it's not going out live. Something's wrong with Channel 23. We've been working on it for 2 days now. Very difficult to get a hold of anybody to help us. So this will be posted on our website tomorrow, I hope, if Kelly gets a hold of it by tomorrow. If not, as soon as possible. And then it's going to be put, Kelly's got some way of doing it with technology, put into a file where it's going to be permanent. So, anyway, public comment. Does anyone on the board have any public comment that they'd like to make for our constituents that can't be here?
I only have one. I put a social media post out telling people to send their comments to my email. Only got one. I'd like to thank Olga Anderson for making masks, first of all. That's where I got my first batch from. And she, if it's possible, the farmer's market won't be able to exist without hand sanitizer. If we happen to come into excess at that time, she requested if we could do so. That's the only comment I got.
Okay, Ty, do you have anything from the public?
No.
Mitzi, no? And nor do I have anything. Seems like a month ago, and it was probably just about a month ago, we had a meeting that was March the 9th. Would someone like to approve the minutes?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Communications. I don't think I have anything in particular. So we'll move right on to financial reports, which I also don't have a financial report. For obvious reasons, the Comptroller's office has been, they've been doing their work, but they've been doing it from home, and I didn't get the, actually I did get it, and I didn't put it in the minutes, and I don't have it with me. So I can't give you a financial report. We'll do it next meeting. Board liaisons, we'll start with Councilman Parry.
I spoke with Pat Patterson. I have to compliment him and the Highway Department and the Sanitation Department. They've combined forces to maintain the normal routines on the pickups. I think there are some projects that maybe are on the back burner, but it's much more important to have the garbage picked up on a regular basis. I think that they are staggering their workforce so that people aren't there all together, which is what we've requested. And that, other than that, I, again, just wanted to compliment them. They're doing a great job, and hopefully we won't have any problems after the storm today that adds to that burden.
They were out quite a bit today, a lot of trees down.
I see the garbage trucks parked in the municipal lot. I'm assuming they didn't want them to get stuck up at the highway garage.
Right.
And so they're up there, which is fine.
I think there's trees down on Mearns, which blocks that way, and 9W is blocked, so. Okay, Councilman Sullivan.
My turn? Okay. Can you hear me, Tierney?
I can.
Well, that's good. So most of my stuff, I know I'm gonna forget people. There's like a whole bunch of people doing great things in the community. I'm gonna talk about my specific liaisons. I had Carl Burns and Doris Lent call me about 2 weeks ago looking for a pickup truck for a food delivery for Holy, whatever it is up here, Holy Innocents, that's the name of the place. My son Timmy drove the pickup truck for him. I'd like to thank all of them. If anybody's looking for refrigerator space, I have half a freezer I can offer. I could probably fit about 15 pounds of meat. We had somebody leave us in the sewer department, and in doing so, I cannot thank enough. We don't have people with bulletproof vests and AK-47s protecting us. We needed administrative things. Our payroll clerk, Elaine Labar, our comptroller, Kelly DiCarlo, or Pecoraro, if I said it right, went out of their way with me hounding them to create a civil service position. I think we're going to officially approve 2 hires tonight, part-timers down at the sewer plant. Pat Patterson was involved in that whole thing. They needed to get an iPhone fired up. Try doing that right now with Verizon. I can't thank them enough. The new plant operator, Jimmy Kiernan, he's been with us for quite a while. He's in charge now. He's an absolute peach. I talk to him every day. And they too, in their other jobs, have to alternate shifts and whatnot. So it's working out where they're giving us coverage. And I would make a plea to the public. Our pump stations are being overwhelmed by undissolvable wipes. These guys are trying to keep ahead of it. And the flow is way off the chart because everybody's home. So everybody just use discretion with these wonderful things we're using to protect ourselves and dispose of them properly. Before the meeting tonight, Bob was kind enough to stop by. My neighbor had a tree fall down. I won't say which neighbor. Pat Patterson called me because there was a need from Officer Brandon Hill was on the scene to have the building department show up and say whether or not the house was fit to live in. Through a couple of quick phone calls and the help of supervisor who lives there, I'd like to thank Philip Hannawalt for showing up. Chief Fieri was involved in that, Pat Patterson, Officer Brandon Hill. I'd like to thank all of them. And that's my report.
Thank you, sir. Councilman King?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. I have a few notes here. I'll start with the center. So a lot of good things happening, and if we didn't know how valuable the folks at the center was, we certainly do under these circumstances. What they've been doing is short of phenomenal, along with a lot of other volunteers in the community. Thank you all for what you do. But they've started a newsletter, and so far it's gone out to 25 households. They have additionally been doing outreach and checking on senior citizens and homebound folks as well. They have been running meals to people, and in collaboration with the Bear Mountain Pizza, they've been even delivering pizzas to folks, because I think Bear Mountain Pizza has been donating some of those pizzas. So a lot of good things happening there. Of course, all the regular activities have been suspended under New York pause. But again, if you're in need out there, you have some sort of, request for food or otherwise need help, then please reach out to the center. They are standing by and available for assistance. The dial-a-bus. So the dial-a-bus went from 7 days a week service to down to 3 days a week service. And then ultimately we were at once a week on Wednesdays. And as of today, I believe, officially.
As of today, we were the only one in the county operating.
That's right. We were the only ones in all of Orange County continuing to operate, and that has now been suspended as of today. And to further notice, we will have no dial-up bus service due to the ongoing situation. But my hat goes off in a big salute to Colleen and her whole team. Did an incredible job, and they continue to do those things. Recreation. Recreation is continuing to register folks for sports and folks for programs with the thought that maybe some of the spring activities will possibly be pushed to the summer if there's an opportunity, but he's continuing to take in those registrations. Now, not sure if you were aware this weekend, supervisor and board members, of course we had the Holy Easter weekend, and then on top of that we had Director of Recreation out with the Easter Bunny. and that was an incredible sight to see. They went all over the community and from Highland Falls to Fort Montgomery to various streets. It was over a 4-hour operation. So you had Aaron driving, and so I got a little excited about the Easter Bunny. I did not know that was Colleen until today. She told me it was her. I wasn't supposed to tell that.
It was not. You ruined everything.
It was like Santa Claus.
It was awesome.
Listen,
It was really
Listen,
awesome.
the faces on those children and family members who came to their doors were elated to see some sort of kind of normalcy, right? To have something that was refreshing. It was a big morale booster. So hat off to Aaron, to Colleen, and there's some other volunteers. I saw the police department out there. I think it was, which officer?
Oh, the new one. One of the new young ones, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I probably got it in Frank's report, and I'll read that in a second. But otherwise, there was also some support from the Highland Falls Fire Department. Arla James, Jacob Sibley, Emily Green, and then we had Colleen and Aaron doing their thing. So great job, guys. Thank you so much. From emergency management, of course, he talked about the high winds and all the activity we saw earlier today, which looks like for the most part, we have withstood that. I know there's some trees down, but I didn't get any reports of any emergency situations as a result of that storm that came through earlier. But also, he's tracking some PPE needs from the ambulance corps. I'm not certain, I have to talk to Jeff about that personally, but I talked to Kurt Hahn, and apparently they may need some PPE that he is acquiring already. I talked about this Chiefs thing. I think he's good. Then they said in terms of update, 67 positives in the Highlands right now, if you're not aware, and then 81 in Cornwall. Okay. So,
Ty, do you know the Highlands number? Does that include West Point?
you know, that's an interesting question. According to Kurt, I don't think it was a definitive answer to me, but he believes that West Point numbers are rolled up in the Highlands.
I would hope so. I mean,
Yeah, that's what he said to me. He said he believes that. So I'll take it for his word for it now. And I got one more report here from Chief Pieri. Okay, so Chief wanted to first convey thanks to the town board for checking on the police officers and ensuring that they had all the supplies that they need to go ahead and continue to patrol. They do have ample PPE at this time for the police department, and they are continuing to patrol. So people need to know that they are out there protecting and serving. So we thank them for what they do. Additionally, he wanted to thank Kelly Pecoraro. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
Good enough.
But you know who I'm talking about. Kelly, the comptroller, has been doing a phenomenal job at assisting Frank and others with their purchasing needs, and he just wanted to convey thanks to her. Want to thank those in the community and outside as well who have checked in on the officers and initially supplied some wipes and some masks for the police department. So we've had an outreach to our force, and folks all over the community have been concerned and helped, and to include those outside the community. Orange County Emergency Management, Executive Newhouse, and all those present who were able to continually do secure masks and sanitizers. So apparently at the county level, they've gotten some sanitizers and masks from them. And in conclusion here, it was Anthony Perello assisted with the food bank this morning. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention that it was, I think, Orange County Legislator Tortel and Jim Modlin and Lynn Etzel were involved in getting 700 pounds of food from the food bank, delivering to our food pantry at Sacred Heart Church. And then we have one of the police officers here, Anthony Perello, who went up to help download that and put it into the community, as well as other volunteers. Okay, I think that is all from me at this time. Thank you so much for the community, what you're doing out there. continue to practice the social distances and continue to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have a whole lot. I would like to make mention of Brooks's Lake Park and Mindock Park, just to remind people that they are owned by the Palisades Park Commission, and we have a contract with them to manage the park. One of the key things to remember is that we cannot make it Town of Highlands only. We have to let the general public in there. I say that with the closing of the Brooks's Lake Park, we had a very difficult time on weekends where many people went there, mostly people from out of town, and probably most of them were there to hike. If they hiked around the lake, they were staying within the park. I guess that's okay. But I was extremely reluctant to close the park, but I really feel as though everybody says, from the governor to the president and everybody on down, stay at home. Well, why am I opening up a park if you're going to stay at home? But it's very difficult for the, and then some people got down into the park and what have you, and where's our cops? Well, our cops are not hired to patrol the park back and forth. So presently, as most people know, Brooks's Lake Park is closed. I'll open that park as fast as I can, as soon as I can, but at this point in time, it's closed. Mindock Park, I go down there 2 or 3 times a day, and they're doing good down there. They're parking where they're supposed to be. They're not hanging in groups. They're not all sitting around picnic tables. They're doing a good job. It was very crowded Sunday, and I kind of felt good about it. At least these people who were not staying at home had a nice place to go to with their kids and their family. So it's a tough one. Stay at home, close the parks. I guess that's something you can do. Then the other thing, Richie, you brought up the highway department, and I just want to say one thing about the guys that I think are doing a tremendous job. There's an Irish song sung by the Irish Rovers, and it's called My Old Man's a Dustman. In Ireland, a garbage collector, or garbage man, whatever you want to call it, is called a dustman. And what he picks up is called dust. And I'm just going to read to you the first paragraph, which really caught my eye. Now, here's a little story. To tell it is a must. About an unsung hero that moves away your dust. Some people make a fortune. Others earn a mint. My old man don't earn much. In fact, he's a flippin' skint. And then there's a long song. I'm certainly not, but the thing is, you know, we use the word heroes for a lot of people, and most certainly in most people's eyes, these doctors and nurses and people that clean in the hospitals and the ambulance workers and all of them together are at this point in time heroes. They're putting their lives into jeopardy, and they're also going home and putting their family into jeopardy. But our guys, who I can talk about because we don't have a hospital in town, our guys are my heroes. They're out there in this nasty weather and the rain and everything else, picking up everybody's contaminated garbage. They do have the equipment on. They do wear the equipment they're supposed to wear. And they're just doing one hell of a good job. And I think they should be commended.
Here, here.
Okay. Justin, do you have anything other than what's on the agenda?
Just the agenda tonight, sir.
Okay. Richie, we're going to hire 2 part-time, Richie Sullivan, two part-time employees. If I can find the sheet and Okay, we're going to hire 2 part-time employees for up to 16 hours per week for a total of no more than $25,000 a year. The First employee is Robert Runge, R-U-N-G. I'd like to ask for a motion to hire Robert Runge as a part-time employee, which would be at the pay of $30.05 per hour for approximately 16 hours a week. Do I have a motion to hire Robert?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Jeffrey Mancuso. I'd like to ask for a motion to hire Jeffrey at $30.05 an hour for 16 hours a week.
Motion? Oh.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you.
Bob, I'd just like to follow up on that real quick.
You would, yes.
There's 832 hours a year available. Jimmy Kiernan used to work alone for 16 hours a week. So these two gentlemen cumulatively will be 16 a week. There's money there if they go over a little bit. We're not spending any extra money from the budget in doing so. Jimmy Kiernan, the new operator, wanted to have coverage with more than one person. These two people work with him in his other job. It's working out rather handsomely. So the 16 hours is cumulative between the two of them per week.
And I have to give Councilman Sullivan all the credit in the world for taking that place over, and with the cooperation of the plant operators. It really, our previous plant operator in charge was supposed to leave at the end of the month, but he left a week early.
2 weeks.
2 weeks early, just said, that's it, I'm done, I'm leaving. So that really stuck us, and thank God we ended up with these two guys, and things are going along pretty well. And now that we're coming into probably in the next week or two, the big project, where that's the total revamping of it. And I was wondering, the dechlorination project, they were waiting for this ramp.
I think it's the COVID-19 situation holding
That's
things
what I
up.
thought, yes.
That's a go. And the plant operator called me before the meeting. In the event that's not ready by May 1st, they have tablets that they've been using.
Okay.
They're kind of prehistoric, might I say, but they accomplish it. I told them to spend $135 to have them just in case, so we're good.
Very good, excellent. This is something I don't know anything about, and I think I'll let anybody that wants to talk about it, is virtual meetings. The planning board would like to have virtual meetings.
Well,
I don't know.
I've been using for some personal meetings, and I have to have Zoom. You've probably heard that term before. It's a pretty good platform. You can get multiple people on there at one time. There's a basic package that doesn't cost you anything, and you can get up to 100 people on that meeting, but you only you're limited to 40 minutes with that basic free package. And then the other one is maybe, I don't know, $20 a month or something, and you can go for it as long as you want.
I've used Zoom. Again, I'm not any more tech savvy than anybody else here. I think most of us have seen things on social media about the dark side of Zoom.
Yeah.
People have meetings, all of a sudden there's genitalia being drawn on the board, so they can be hacked. I understand the WebEx is more secure, and I think Kelly may have chased down a better price, but I haven't used WebEx, so I'm just going, this is all anecdotal for me.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Zoom is they recommend that you use passwords, of course, to let people who you invite to use a password to get in versus just an open public thing. Because that's when you're susceptible to those attacks like that.
Okay, so I'm going to make the assumption that should the planning board want to, want to use Zoom, the board has no problem with them doing it. I think it's only $40 a month at the most.
Yeah, the most.
Ty, spray him with some of this Clorox, would you?
But I think they indicated that they were comfortable. Again, Kelly had spoken to New Windsor IT, who does your IT. They've worked with WebEx. The systems are nearly identical in functionality and what they're attempting to do and who can join and whatnot. So that was your IT's recommendation. The price structure was similar. I don't know that WebEx has the free, but it was approximately between $20 and $30 a month for what would be necessary. And the planning board's comfortable with that system. The municipalities in Orange County have been relatively split. Some have been using Zoom and trying to control the password access, and some have been using WebEx. They really both work very
The West Point
similarly.
uses something called Teams.
Teams is wonderful.
Yeah?
Whatever we do, we should probably like have a practice meeting before we go live, right?
Well,
Yes.
you can just call the other, like a lot of the town halls, if you call them, they can tell you how well it's working. 'Cause a lot of my town clerks have been talking about it.
So are we suggesting that we do that with the town board meeting also, or?
Could be an option. I mean, it gives you options, is what I'm saying. If it comes to the point where you think we have to stay in, we don't have to cancel meetings. We can do it through technology.
I work outside, I'm protected. I treat everybody as well as myself as if we're all positive. I think we all know that at this point.
Right.
So I'm comfortable with this. I don't know that the public has a good perception of us doing this in the continuum. Either way is fine by me.
Well, that's always my concern, is what is people, not that I care what people think personally, but my point about being leaders is what
Correct.
example do they think we're setting.
Correct.
And then there's another element, so we come in, maybe there's somebody who works in this building that has to come in, and they get nervous because we were all in here and thinking we're touching everything, and, it could spin out of control, but I'm okay too, trust me.
Okay, well, we'll just leave that floating out there in the air and see what we come up with.
I think a couple of weeks ago, there was quite an extensive article in the New York Times about issues with Zoom. And, it disturbed quite a bit what they were trying to accomplish. I don't know about the WebEx, was that it?
WebEx, yes.
But, if that's what the IT is recommending, perhaps that's something that we should lean towards. But I think that nowadays we have to come
Yeah, I
up
think
with
the article
something.
you referred to is, the Department of Education in New York City was attempting to use Zoom and then determined that the children's personal information may be
Right, compromise.
compromised.
Right,
And so now that they've come back and rolled back on that and say, we're not gonna use Zoom.
yeah.
Okay, well, we'll just kind of leave that, like I said, in the air, and we'll see when I'll get a talk with Kelly and see what she's found and what she can do for us.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with her taking the lead. She's doing a great job of giving us options. And it looks like she's doing the right research, so she'll figure it out.
All right.
Do you want to authorize her to do that, or you're going to wait and?
Apparently, the board is in agreement that we can go ahead with something like that, and so, yes.
Okay.
So we'll authorize Kelly to
I'll make the
make a
motion.
move for us and the planning board.
Okay.
The ZBA, I think they postponed their meeting until June.
They did.
June something. So,
The one thing I would say is whatever we do and the planning board should probably be the same platform. Shouldn't be two different things.
yeah,
What about the zoning board?
that's what I was just saying.
They've already
postponed till
canceled.
June the 1st. By June the 1st, hopefully,
Hopefully, right.
they'll be able to have a meeting.
But Kelly did indicate that the way they can structure the passwords is that there can be a global town board, all the boards can access it, and she can distribute on a case-by-case basis as to when it is necessary. There will be times, for instance, the planning board may have a public hearing as opposed to their regular meeting next month, right? And there'd have to be some public access given with that. But again, my understanding from WebEx is that they're prepared for that and their security systems are in place. But obviously, she'll talk more with New Windsor IT.
Okay.
So Rich made the motion, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right. Now, we have two bids that we have to approve. While it's on top of my mind, Justin, did you set up a time for that?
No, I was going to talk to Councilman Sullivan tonight and see when his best availability is, or whether,
Skip Thursday on me.
or whether he wants just the supervisor on the call, depending on his work schedule.
Just for a
What's the call
ribbon
for? I don't
cutting
know.
or something?
This is for the EFC one. I thought I forwarded to you, maybe I didn't. The EFC wants a conference call now that we're awarding the bids, just to discuss next steps in the
You
project.
guys pick the time, I'll make myself available. What, it's important, that's no problem.
Okay. They don't tend to be long calls, and if you
Yep.
had to drop, obviously, there's others on, and we can
Yep.
update you. They were looking, hopefully, for one in the next couple of mornings. So if Wednesday's still available, we could do it Wednesday at 9.
Yeah, that's fine.
My best time is 9 o'clock at work. I can give you a half hour any morning at
Okay,
work.
so we'll find a day that is 9 a.m.
Okay.
Could be this Wednesday. Otherwise, it might bump into next week, but I'll make sure you're both aware of it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we have a resolution to award a contract in accordance with the documents issued for a bid of the Fort Montgomery Sewer Improvement Area Takeover. Justin.
Yes, you have two nearly identical resolutions. You basically explained it, right? We've been waiting for this moment since the bids came back several months ago in December of 19 now. I don't know when bids came back.
4.5 years.
I've forgotten.
Bids, yeah, okay,
Several
yeah,
months ago.
yeah.
We've been, right, we had to go back to the state controller's office. Then a few weeks ago at your last regular board meeting, you went through your amended bond resolution and your public interest order again. The appropriate timeframes have passed since that time, and now you're going to award your two contract bids. It's the type of project where it has a general contractor, that's TAM Enterprises. They have a base price of $2,292,000, and then you have a separate electrical contractor based on the nature of the project, and that's Ray Pantel Electric, and that's $647,000. So one at a time, but you have two resolutions before you to award those contract bids. At that point, contracts could be signed, and ideally, your contractors, because this is an essential project, it has to do with essential infrastructure for the community. So ideally, those contractors could commence work in the next 7 to 10 days. So the first one is the general contract for TAM Enterprises, a resolution to award the contract.
I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution to award a contract with TAM Enterprise. The contract documents show a total bid amount of $2,292,000. The town clerk will provide a notice of the award to the successful bidder, and the supervisor and officers in the town are hereby authorized to make, deliver, and cause to be made, executed, and delivered in the name and behalf of the town, all agreements. Be it further resolved that the aforesaid resolutions shall take place immediately. Do I have a motion to move the resolution?
Motion?
Second.
A roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
All right,
Councilmember Perry?
Aye.
And Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye. Now therefore, the other resolution be resolved that the town board, Town of Highlands, on behalf of the Fort Montgomery Sewer Improvement Area, does award the electrical contract for the project to the lowest responsible bidder, Ray Pantel Electric, to be performed in accordance with the contract documents at a total bid amount of $647,000. The town clerk will notify the bidder, and the supervisor and officers are hereby authorized to make and execute and deliver the contract. And this resolution will take place immediately. Do I have a motion to move the resolution?
Motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
all right.
Councilmember Perry?
Aye.
Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye.
Wow. That started in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
5 years ago? Yeah, 5 years ago. Amazing. Under the governor's directions, I'm assuming, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, that the water plants, sewer plants, et cetera, are able to go ahead and
Yeah.
work.
Yes.
Yes,
right?
they are. They're essential services for the,
That was the word I was looking for.
yep.
Yeah. Okay, I have a suggestion from our deputy town clerk who does the sewer water bill, she does both sewer and water bills. And she's recommending or wants us to talk over extending the payment deadline or waive the penalties. How do we feel about that? Because obviously people don't know how they're gonna make their rent, and this bill's gonna hit hard.
When is the bill due?
Joan, you don't know?
I haven't a clue. It hasn't gone out yet, so this is.
It's the end of this month, I think it's May 1st. I'm almost positive.
Because they're being billed, yes, I think it's May 1st.
Yeah. So bills go out on May 1st, they have a month to pay without a penalty. Then beyond May 1st, there's penalties.
I recommend extension.
I would recommend we give them 2 months to pay without a penalty.
I'm good with that.
Richie, you sound right to you? Yeah, I asked
We
for-
want to encourage them to try to pay it on time, if that have the means, but if someone cannot, then we can look the other way. Yeah.
So I'll ask for a motion to extend the time to pay water bills to 2 months before a penalty.
I make the motion to extend the water bills to 2 months, without penalty.
Before a penalty, yeah.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Any other business not listed above? Any other comments, whatever have you?
The other thing I'll say is, we're all looking to the governor and the county executive for direction. We're in a room where I can't imagine how you're gonna have 50 people in court the way we used to know it anytime soon. Some of the things that are gonna be done by the ingenuity of the individuals in this room, I look forward to rising to that occasion. They can't tell us everything we need to do. We're gonna have to figure it out for ourselves. And we're lucky with the town, our taxes have been levied. We have them. The village and schools don't. They have their challenges ahead of them.
For sure.
I would just compliment Bob on reaching out to all the department heads and asking them to hold off on any expenditures, that haven't been committed to, because I think that's being foresighted, even though we have the revenue hopefully coming in. I think there might be some valleys coming up.
I'm proud to say I was one day ahead of the governor and the county exec on
Oh, okay.
the expenses. We figured we're gonna lose anywhere in the neighborhood of $600,000-$700,000 off of our $6 million budget. And that's a lot. That's a lot to cut. So all I did was ask the town if they're gonna spend more than $100, you gotta get my permission or Kelly's permission first. There is an exception there with the town garage. They need tires. So there are certain things that they really don't have. I've talked it over with Pat. You want to buy a new computer? No. Let's hold off on your new computer, even if it is in the budget. Stuff like that.
That's good.
We just got to do the best we can to get through this, because at the end of the year, we're going to be in trouble. No doubt, no matter how we save and whatever have you, we're going to be in trouble at the end of the year.
Yes.
I wanted to also say, first of all, I wanted to say thanks to the folks at West Point also, who have been great partners in this challenging times. They've driven out some donations of food on a couple occasions, and I got an opportunity to sit in some of their briefings. Of course, it's telephonically, just because my spouse works over there. But then I could hear the concern about the community next door, and so we thank them for that, Colonel Marston's and others. And then secondly, I want the community to know that, for me personally, I get around just to sometimes ride around and see how the community's doing with some of the the requirements of New York state laws, like social distancing and things. And I think, in my opinion, from what I see, folks are taking it serious, and by and large, folks are adhering to the rules. As you see, it's very quiet out, and there's a lot of people in the house, and every now and then you see onesies and twosies. People might be trying to get a little fresh air, or they might be getting something to eat, but you don't see large gatherings. Unlike if you're on social media, you can see some communities doing just the opposite. In some cases, to their demise. There's folks who've now gotten infected because they were on the beach for spring break, or a church pastor passed away because he ultimately defied the rules and then died from corona complications. So I just want to commend our community for doing the right thing, and we'll be greater for it.
You mentioned Colonel Morrison, and I've been supervisor long enough where I think I've seen probably in 14, 15 years worth of garrison commanders. And I have to pat him on the back and say he's he's the best that I've seen as far as cooperating with the town. I do so much by just simply throwing an email to him, and I get an answer back the same day. And normally it's a positive answer. So Colonel Morrison is doing an excellent job for the town.
Yeah, I concur with that 100%.
Anything else? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so carried.